Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We'll begin by, if you turn your prayer book to page 1, and we'll begin. All mothers, sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood.
Darba Dai Dam Jen Jen Be Para De Jo Para Je Ba Dam Je Je Zo Je Be Amai Nam Ka Dai Nyam Be Sem Jen Dam Je De Wa Dam Den
Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in glorious, kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching, and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Idams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom.
Nam Kien Ta Dan Nyam Be Sem Chen Tam Je and Jo Je De Som Je Di Je Ye Ba Tam Je Je Ko Zon To Yon Den Ten Le Dan Je Je Mo Wo Jur Bo Chu Je Kong Bo Dong Da Je Je Sa Shen Ju Me Ngam Pa Be Gen De Tam Je Je Nga Da Chen Chen Za Wa Dan Ju Ba Ra Je We A Ba Ra De La Ma Dam Ba Nong La Jiao Zhen Je Wo Ye Dan Jing Go Ra Je La Zo Nong La Jiao Zhen Je Wo San Je Jung De De Nong La Jiao dambe chu nam la jab se je nyam pa be gen de nam la jab se je wo ba wo kan ro je jong song me an so ye je je jan dan den ba nam la jab se je wo.
Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path.
So keep going English.
Okay.
In the
Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness.
May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering.
May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Om Benzara Samanza, Benzara Samanza, Benzara Samanza.
Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place. Argam Padyam Pushpe Dube Alogengande Nivede Shabda Bharti Zasu. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers, is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I've gathered through prostrations, offering, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. And then to page 11. Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the 3 realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the 5 wisdoms of omniscience. Gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please grant me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind. Transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of 2-legged beings, Taking 7 steps on this great earth you proclaim, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise even then I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain, the one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment. To you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the 3 levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled, omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Shravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground bases for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the 3 higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha I also prostrate. And then to page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjusri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appeared during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that I imagine the whole Dharmatatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloth, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination, according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings. Good morning. Tinida.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Doing. That's all.
Tinida ngatsodi tingzang ke tutsu la tene chi karse gorda yu scenari tu scenari da tela chi karse gore cancer wonder what you is tinida chi tutsu te yang tene ngatsoda technology ro la so pe chat gpt la so be ke gone chilo la yaje hyujin ro de yore ina yang da ko karse gore tindi yarjin ro de wa thi ke chi sem ke tene ke ta hiwa ta chi dewa tindi je ragyo marwa tindi indu tene tandang gaso ta chi gom nyamne cheya chu nyamne cheya de ko sem ke tene 지 냠래 집이나 샘기 때문에 히리제 톱고 열어와 뒤엔디다 단다지 여진로대야 참마데 그 지งู그 돈에 여제장장로디 마도 나 샘기 때문에 아지 노메타 칸디제게 여진로비나 양 텔레지 오다 지 참바야 효치를 당야 닌지 효치를 당야 대가나 그랑지 심주라지 희와당 대와 텐디지 야지 당야지 용금도 팀메디우 때네 일단 가서 주체해야 돼. 내가 전부지 자리요서레스.
So we are living in strange times. If we think about, what this moment in time, kind of in the outer world, it represents, it's really quite strange. All of the advancements of technology, the really exaggerated development, that's occurring on an external level, really there's this incredible drive towards advancement and technology development. And this is really all around us and has changed our lives a lot. But then when we look at what is happening on an inner level, it's like that is not reflected. The inner level is not reflected, or the outside development is also not reflected on an inner level, meaning that our inner development is not occurring in the same way. And so, there's not, and in fact, people's peace of mind, well-being, inner stability and happiness are on the decline. And so this is a really strong motivating factor for Dharma practice. Because with the practice of Dharma, we are working on inner development, the inner development of the mind, is finding true peace and inner well-being, happiness. And this is completely independent of outer objects. So with all of this outer development, this doesn't help us to develop, inwardly the qualities of love and compassion, peace and well-being. So we have to apply, these other methods. We have to rely on a spiritual practice to be able to develop those qualities from within.
대백해 첨보리 텐디다 대수 참마 동나치 대수 참마 니해요레 텐디다디 나랑오네 대지스이랑다 당가도 참마 지 로도 넘버 힐라서 뭐 하코나 드네원에 장내 지 펜토 칠리게와 텐디 용토부요레스
Pinto, kare?
펜토 빼먹고 용토부레스.
And so what we have been covering in these classes, we're going through the progressive stages of the path, and in particular the preliminaries, or ngundro, and we have concluded the reflections and practice of the common preliminaries, what we sometimes refer to as outer preliminaries, which are the four thoughts that turn the mind. And so it's really important to hold these as part of our practice, even as we move forward with the next stages of our practice. This is it's so wonderful that we've had the time to deeply reflect on these and practice these. And Drupon says he really rejoices in this and all of your great efforts with this. It's really so meaningful. And so if you hang on to what you have learned, through these practices, through these reflections, and continue to reflect on them throughout the course of your practice or throughout the course of your path, your spiritual path, there's really extraordinary benefit that will come from this.
ngazoda jiglodo number temada teri legunde semetawa kurwi nyemegi hamagona tene ngazoji tanda yantosa jig chaja 첨보 zokba 첨보 tene jig zalung tiglela soba tene ji tv나 tene jig lakpan jusame wandawo jig chanru yores tendu tene da ngazo tambo 네 단다 콘슈바나 이레 로도나 바히 라소바 야지 장 라와 텔레곰 드네 야람 바힌도 진로비나 드네 당가 조코람베 진 칸바나 마소나 지 야베이나 양코 파운데이션 요바 드네 야 드네 츠발라 소바 드네 고지 데코레이션 요바 차상 차기 요레스
Um, so somebody who really practices, the complete path of Buddhist practice, who really, fully immerses themselves and practices all of the stages of the path, these foundations, the four thoughts that turn the mind, are absolutely crucial to the entire path of practice. So understanding karma, cause, and effect, really on a deep level, having awareness of the truth of impermanence, and so forth. Without these, if one doesn't really come to deeply understand the truth of the four thoughts that turn the mind, then if one jumps to higher levels of practice, Mahamudra, Dzogchen, the channels, subtle body practices of the channels, winds and drops, it becomes like,
Also meditation,
and the different levels of meditation, it becomes like having, no handhold or foothold. So there's no ability to gain any substance in the practice. So it's really important to have this foundation of the four thoughts that turn the mind, to really spend time meditating on them and to go through the progressive stages of the path in order like this. When we have a really firm footing in the four thoughts that turn the mind and the other preliminary practices, that's like the foundation and the walls, and then the later practices become like all the decorations, the embellishments, of that beautify like the building. But you don't have any building without the foundation and the walls.
Tinda training the cartagin subina dang so jamro tobre sta us nyamne chia. Da jamro di tanda yang chang so nyamne chia de ke chembore tindu jamro di nga so da sadana korangang la maji ro kandis logore kandis dongore tanga kandis sogores 테마지 쇼긴스 되네 디젤은 갖다 두수 요베깔라 되네 잠로라 되네 지 잠로 나게 잠로 상외 잠로라 소바당 대가 나게다 잠로 게 평용라 소바당 되네 잠로 지고베 줌산라 소바다 되네 가서 제리 되네 힙타 되네 특인스 베나 차로 세비나 차시리 평용가서 요원도다 이네 양다 트렌디 고지 다 냠내 칸디스 치그레 세야지 마슈기스.
So now, having gone through the common preliminaries, we're starting in this series of the progressive stages of the path. We're entering now into the uncommon preliminaries, which begins with the practice of refuge. And this we do with a sadhana, which we have now for this, for today's teaching. We have the sadhana, which has been digitally sent to you. And I will make the note that there are some people who I have been receiving notifications of people asking for access. I'm not sure why I have to share, but if you don't have access, please do just request access. I will forward it to Donna, and she will make sure that you have access if you don't have access to the file. We didn't print out copies for people today because it's lengthy, so it would be great if you maybe can make your own copies, at home or however. If you want a printed version. So what Drupon Rinpoche will go through today is how to actually do the practice according to the sadhana. We'll go through the sadhana and familiarize ourselves with the sadhana, with the practice as you embark on this practice, as your own. And then later in following sessions together, and we'll also provide written materials for this, going into more kind of the details of the refuge practice. There's outer refuge, inner refuge, secret refuge, all of the different benefits of the practice of refuge, the reason why we do this practice of going for refuge. So there's a lot of details, to understand when, in doing this practice. We do this practice together with prostrations. The main sort of the accumulation for this practice is the accumulation of prostration. So Drupon Rinpoche will demonstrate to you how to do prostrations, also what the benefits of doing prostrations, what are the benefits of prostrations and so forth. So there's a lot of material to go into, but today we will just start with the sadhana, going through the sequence of the sadhana.
All right, so also we didn't print, but the counter too much paper, ink, but also sometimes we have to fix the text, so but if we share the screen and then people look, so first, okay, that is.
I have to give people access, I'm sorry.
So I think page 9, that we did already. This is just opening prayers.
So on page 9, we've already gone through the opening prayers at the beginning, right just now. So these opening prayers are the same.
Right, okay. Tini terwa. Tangye chik china charanso ta long yu jire chik china sama yomi ha koma song tindu tini tangbo long timar jing dongi yins tindu ta ti jetanga to ta ngondo charanso familiar yu jire tis jepa dupa ta ndamanda yorwa ri tina ya ta di nga to dharma kirti hilong zidu ta chik ngondo karsegota jeho senari ta nga so 3 year keta losom chosom jiya ngondo te chadi yores.
So we begin the sadhana booklet that we put together for you has at first, the opening prayers. So all the opening prayers that we do, so typically we recite through all of those when you're doing, second and third sessions and so forth. You can do an abbreviated recitation of opening prayers. And then when it comes to the content of the sadhana that we are using, there are lots of different Ngondro texts and different sadhanas, but this one comes from the tradition of the Dharmakirti Shalung, which is what is used traditionally in the Drikung Kagyu lineage for 3-year retreat. So people, for instance, like when Drupon Rinpoche did a 3-year retreat, these are the same sadhanas that his group used, that they used when doing the 3-year retreat. And so a lot of you probably already have the transmission for this, but for those of you who haven't yet received the transmission, first Drupala will begin by giving the reading transmission. So that's just, he'll read through quickly the text and we can just meditate and sort of receive that lineage transmission.
Jivedene kana kando walene jama yinde jeso don rung kurve dungo na zona ning long chabo da ji ye ke ba sum ji dong mo chen bo dong ma tu ji jing zui mo na ko me de mi de le zhe la mo la ji be la me ko ran di ji ti de ne bian ko lo dong ba la yi na lo so ji ko ke ba sam mo sang ji dong ji ko ba jeb de na be jo bo de na ba yo ba yong de da je sam ma ji ren se he ro ji sam ma je ben tu jong jo sang da xian yang sai ni mo la so be ni we ze ji da ni we ze ji re dong 메코도 나고 조종에 디녀 풍보다 세와라 조 세와라 조로 제성제 담진 디베고도 제네면 원이 권요 dom니다 와다 로마는 라장들로 제메가는 도지 제모 이베니니 디데데데데 원을 도제고는 거좀네 디베 조로 장들로 도와줘 보라는 미관 위인데 소거죠 마동생 범모용라 장들로 중원시고 남다제 예예 영원히 카로라마도 녀모소 녀모나 모신도 외동도 그도원 칸도샤라 장들로 담배도지 현재에서 도제녀면도 디제 모녀모세 되는 모다버지 현재 여보제라 장들로 마선제메 셔라버지 마제면 가는 경우 어디서서는 예jeju 마디좀 제외용 장들로 장면 장나도지 제네 색사이니 뭐 드반 넘버세 남게니 뭐 전바근도 선이 베세 제제라 뒤섬제로 제세 도제에 년도도서 바지세 와대마정연도 외대죠 내된 첨보나로 장사로 다다마전남이 사랑년 배심년도에 전 용보랑 제제와도 되냐서 와다 이거지 원래로마 담보나로 저선죠 예나진 거냐 다다나로 저선죠 산지짐내네 나로 저선죠 담비초 나로 저 법의견도 나로 저선죠 보원관도 최종소매소 이해제전당된 바나로 저선죠 Okay, so finish the transmission. So now we can look it together. So page 9.
So this is how, if you're doing a session of practice on your own, this is how you will do it. And so we've been through the more extensive contemplation of the four thoughts, the reflections on the four thoughts that turn the mind. But when we, like first thing, early in the morning, when we start our practice, we begin the session with reflection on the four thoughts.
Tande lone tene da depends rawa chirangsu tuzo kase yobina tene da ngazo samro tene divi kamro na karma ju nik tene di stana da contemplation chegre ste tenjoni gawate.
So when you recite, this was the first of the four thoughts, it's reflecting on precious human life. So it depends on what your time is like, how much, so first you recite like this, and then you spend a little bit of time meditating and contemplating on precious human life. So for instance, if you're staying in retreat, you might do 10 to 20 minutes of meditation, reflecting on each one.
Right, or at least maybe a few minutes.
Or at least maybe a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. So page 10. sorry, I think
I thought that was on
Sorry.
purpose. I thought we were just going fast. So we didn't do the English. So
Okay,
when you recite,
back to the page 9.
back to page 9, when you recite the English, you have two options here. You can do it with the melody, or you can
Actually,
just
this
read
morning,
it.
this melody na ya yoris nga tsuti.
In the morning, you said?
In the morning, this correct. But hang your tanga to lona tenjon ne ni bar hindu ka lamna te ko ti semla te tsuwale marwa. In that yogi to sambat lo lo ji melody this ya yoris.
So he thinks that especially like in the morning, it's really nice to do the recitations with
reflection,
melody, because you it takes your mind, like it brings feeling into the contemplation. Whereas when we just read it, it doesn't have that same invocation of feeling that reciting with the melody does, which it sounds like he's saying is also connected with the morning, it being early in the morning. So we can do it with melody then at the bottom of the page. This leisure and wealth so rare to find is our chance to make our life worthwhile. If with this we don't achieve our goal, how could we hope it will come again?
Impermanent too.
So then we'll also read through impermanence, but ordinarily you would meditate for a few minutes on that one and then recite impermanence. This life as fleeting as autumn clouds, the birth and death of beings like a dance. Their lights flash like lightning in the sky, passing faster than a waterfall. I think this. I think we just need to add this life as fleeting, and then you can just make a little note there that says as autumn clouds.
Page 11. Tuje no de jarabo do jona alon jo
Bound by time, even a king must die, leaving wealth, friends, and family behind. Wherever he goes like a shadow, his karma will follow him along.
That thing in Nigeria TGL karma kasi kontu to suit chironsdaro.
So again, with this, then you meditate. After reciting, you meditate for a time. You can see what you have time for, how long you've spent contemplating after each recitation. So contemplating the pain of all 6 realms of samsara, an intense sadness wells up.
다들 로도 넘바 키리 다 가장 가서 다 나와 뭐 트레와 나와 가서인다 로직스 로고나 되는다 정말 희귀리 세나 양의 양도다 레전드 세야다 베메시 자침보레 스탠드도 양 하코비나 되는 거죠 카르세고다 지 코리어 파티셔나노 차그레 다 가서 디 가장 제당 로도 넘바 히다 가서 제당 로도 넘바 히데 베자 몽보나를 요리 이나 양가 저 믹스에 되네 지 베자 창만이 베나다 저 타고 탈천리 되네 구장람에 현롱라 소베되네 베자 몽보나 초 루룩 체체 되네 소요레스 다디 가서다 냠난 진경원에 되네 개침보레스.
So we have spent, many months reflecting on these 4 thoughts that turn the mind. And again, he cannot emphasize enough how important these reflections are to your practice. This sign of really deeply having integrated the 4 thoughts into your practice is being absolutely convinced and aware with great attention, to the truth of karma, cause, and effect. So really understanding karma, cause, and effect is a result that comes from these contemplations. And somebody who has that really can be considered to be a real practitioner. So there are many different texts where the explanations, you can find explanations, very good explanations on the 4 thoughts that turn the mind. Most widespread and famous are those that you find in Gampopa's Ornament of Precious Liberation and Patrul Rinpoche's Words of My Perfect Teacher. So familiarizing yourself with those, and then also as Drupon Rinpoche and I have put together these reflections, that as we went through the course of the 4 thoughts together, that is drawing on how they are explained in these 2 important texts. So you can also, it would be good, prior to practicing those to read through those reflections.
다 디지라 다 드링에디 마티아디다 고 냠렌치네 참디 위키다 드네 로탕로지 치네 딜 티오레스 티인디다 양치랑소 지 참로 마디나양 다 increasing mentor 다소 드네 양 말로나 데그레스 이네 양다 단단가 참로디는 로고고요레스.
So what you have in this sadhana is everything that you need to do this practice in retreat. So if you are doing retreat, then what you would do is you would
follow this text,
you would follow this text, and you would read through first the 4 thoughts, and then in retreat you would also do the recitation of what you have next, which is the Sanskrit alphabet, the mantra of dependent origination, the 100-syllable mantra, and the increasing mantras and mala mantras. If you're not staying in retreat, then it's not necessary to do those.
If you can, that's okay. If you don't have time, then you have to make flexible.
Mm-hmm. So you definitely have to recite them in retreat, but he's saying if you can be flexible, if in your everyday life you're not in retreat, if you can, that's great, but if you don't have time, that's okay.
then 다 담보대 다 나티 통단로대 다 제일 휴인스 이나다 단다양가 다 제탕 되게 말로 하긴스.
So he'll talk a little bit more about these mantras later on. And their significance, but right now we'll just read through them.
다 제탕가서 디 다는 상스크릿 디 기테네 다 데 이양탕 세지디 가르선다 상지 쯤된 데 이렇게 되네 다 송샤비 이렇게 추대다 이게 니간을 요래스 디니 디 이게 니나를 요래다 이게 레라 에너지 누판다고 배나 이게 레라 콘산다고 한번도 되네 내디 요래스 디디 그니게 되네 자침보리 다 디니 이게 니나를 요도 배나 이게 니디 지금 로비나 되네 양타 세지 로비나 되네 지 상지 좀 된데 그 송샤부 초창마 로반다고 지 되네 차로 요래스 그래서나 늘리 로스 저게 상지 좀 된데 이게 송 추지 풍부 제트 해동데 되네 대 이게 요마라 원들 지치소도 소하세요 하요라 하니치스도 소하 티도 소하데 중이요 진짜 치스도
Oh, yeah, gongda. Angela did. So, in brief, first we start with the Sanskrit alphabet. And so the significance of reciting the Sanskrit alphabet is that all of the Buddha's teachings were written down originally in Sanskrit. And so they are comprised of all of these syllables of the Sanskrit vowels and consonants, which make up the entire Sanskrit language. And so the idea is that in each of these letters, there's tremendous energy and blessing, that each of these letters is like a deity. So when we recite the Sanskrit vowels and consonants, it's almost as if we are reciting the entire collection of the Buddha's teachings, because all of the 84,000 categories of the Buddha's teachings are comprised of the Sanskrit vowels and consonants. And so in all of those sounds, all of the teachings of the Buddha are there.
Okay, so maybe we're reading together. Om a e e u re re le le e o ang a ka ga nga sa za nya da da na da na ba ma yara lawa sha ka sa Hakcha soha.
We're missing one? What no one else.
Sha.
Sha, sa, ha, sha.
Sha, kasa, hakcha, so. No missing. Tibet, no missing. I don't know English.
That it's just together. Ka, sha, ha, so, ha, like it's maybe perhaps I took this from somebody from Ina's transliteration, but maybe there could be. I think it's because the ha doesn't have an a after it, is what you're saying. No, in English he's talking about the transliteration.
Oh, okay.
But I'll look. Yeah, I took it from Ina's transliteration.
Okay, that DJ lang also tender. So that also chua tamchi tene tender wa. Tene sangjiya la tender tende tene. Tiga na yitan dela karsena de tender tang. Tene da ten yuk la gdo. So temper hyuk so seya de. Je ngaton da wimbi na tene teyore tanda. 아직 냠len치네 소남 싸네 소남 텔라야 되네 지금 가서 템보 용약 그지 소남 되다 트레인 가서 지 개와사 하죠 텔 개와도 조만도야 개와도 조만도야 알아와 되네 그 템보 디하고다 가서 제나 배향도 요나 되네 지다 등상 뱅나로 쪽보다 뱅 I not sure being safe or not but that tender will chug you is the matonga to the song good in it. Ya, Gavajigsa, Tijil, Kondon, Jiglang, yang the yang ti je la cha dong ro la na tan ji ge wa ko ha ko ji zo ro do wa da tin de tin ma yong chi to la tin da da den den ning bo se ya there is da independent consecration cha ti is.
So then the next recitation that we have is the mantra of dependent origination. And so what is beneficial about reciting this mantra is that as we engage in Dharma practice, we are accumulating tremendous merit. And so as we accumulate merit, but then also positive karma ripens, that virtue that is accumulated can be gradually exhausted. And so what this mantra does is it sort of seals it with this auspicious interdependence that then prevents it from declining. So it's kind of like putting your merit in the bank. So that it's safe and so that it increase, so that it doesn't get lost. It's sort of like putting money in the bank these days. He said he doesn't know actually how safe the bank is or not. But this is what the effect that this mantra has, is that it allows all of the accumulated virtue to not be lost, to not be deteriorated through ripening.
Okay. We read together. Om Ye Dharma He Du Parabhava He Du De Ken Tatangato Hayawadi Di Kenzayo Neroda Ewanwade Ma Hyarmana Ye Soha. 다 디지랑 가서 다 참에 챙기래 이겨래 다 저 이게 이겨대 다 가서 갈세나 다 좋지 디파장거 요래 이나 믹스에 게드네 다 단다가 빼나 개와 가르두고요나 딜라양 고 갈세데 데려와 가서 인지기 갈세다 지닐 키바송다 인파이트 오지 밀 키바세나 타르겐다고 게 야토비아 그다 가서 디치돌에 이견동 요래스.
And so then next we have the recitation of the 100-syllable mantra, Vajrasattva's mantra. And the benefit of this, you're all probably very well familiar with the benefits of reciting the 100-syllable mantra. So it has a profound effect of purification, but also it has the effect of causing whatever virtue it is that we are accumulating to hit the target, so to speak. To really be kind of, functioning as it is meant to function.
So we read together. Om Benzara Sado Samaya Manu Balaya Banzara Sado Dinoba Aditande Do Mebawa Sodo Kayo Mebawa Asobo kayo mebawa anurado mebawa asarva sede mebarayanza sarva karma sozame sede sheyama guru hum ha ho bangawen sarva tata gata banzara mame Benza Bava Maha Samaya Sadhu. So Manabala and Banasodin Madita Me Bava Sudo Kayo Me Bava Subochuyo Me Bava Me Bava. Okay. That he should lang at that data, increasing one Juranga on it, and Juranga di. 당가서 개발 두고요나 되네 개발 로바텔라 가서 increasing 차기요레스 티니 당가서 지야 디 용가나 동 되네 메게반다고 뭐보치나 그 용거 말와 텐디 되네 당가서 개발 로베 갑라 되네 된동 이게 당가 소음요 당가 해 참내가 해요 다 단다디 가 소음로 팅도 왔다 Tin Junga la with a static, not so when a man gave out of Sana, Tini, gave out the John Roya, Chanjo Senjin, Chanjo Senjin, John Roya, Tini Yungu is.
The Gyuryaginga.
Tan Junga is. Tan Junga tella, Carsenata, Benangatsuda, gave a drop a cabla on the logo grace. Gave a counter over the George Grace. Tin Dutine Yaji, Tin Junga on the law, Tine, Megeva Chidin and Digmarwa. Ko Megeva Jordo Grace. Tin Tangaton Yamlanchi, Nicola, the Ton Grace, the Tonetine, Mayan George Grace. Nasom do I don't hear the Cheta.
Sumure G go get away.
Yeah.
So then we have the increasing mantras. So these are exactly what they sound like. They have the function of causing our virtue and everything that is recited to increase or become magnified in its power. So when we are practicing virtue, that's what we want, is we want it to increase. We want it to multiply. But, the power of these mantras is such that they increase. So if, for instance, we were accumulating non-virtue, that can also increase. So the important thing is that our practice, so we can't recite these mantras and then kind of go astray in our practice and have intentions of non-virtue. We have to remain within the proper accumulation of virtue, and then that increases as a result of these mantras.
Okay, we read it together. Om Sambara Sambara Bimana Sara Maha Zawa Hum Om Mara Mara Bimana Kara Mahanzawa Hum Pi Om Sambara Sambara Mahanzawa Hum Pi
Mahadzawa, Gyurgo Sarwa.
Mahanzamba Hum Pi. That's okay. Ta ti jela nga ta namju nga so de namba o chingwa la chilab jawro chi slagoda la mazon chingwa la chilab jawro chi lagoda indang ngone chingwe ke chingab de ta ngone jina nga so tanda tere dowa chingwa de ke chimbo de song de de tinda ting상 nga so content ro he chi chi yo ro ina yang chingwa de ko message yung go da ki ta content ro ina yang ta khang da yang de chingwa chilab de is.
And so then we have, so what we're often doing, in these practices is we're accumulating mantra recitation. So it's important to then bless the mala. So these are the practices, or the mantras that are specific for blessing the mala. Also, in addition, so you need to have a mala for this practice, and also it's good to have a counter.
Oh. Good counter love me.
Counter,
La intanga peju chigidu was counter. In a counter, the counter is.
Oh, sorry. The mala itself is your counter.
Right. Ina yada tingsang counter peju chigi.
But these days people do. So these days there are counters you can, and I think what he's alluding to is specifically in the practice of prostration. Many people use a counter, it's helpful, but the mala is really important as an object, to a support to the practice. So you absolutely have to have the mala and do the mala blessing.
Mm-hmm. So now you can do this mala, this we call the head of the beads, right? We call the
Guru.
Yeah, like this. I think we did the Mahamudra chant exactly. So there you put it the right, so the left hand, left palm, right? So like this. Then this is head of bead. Look like put here, like in the center. So that is actually they say the benefit if you build a stupa. That's so. Then sometimes we in the Mahamudra chants, then the surfing water clean up by yourself. You can do that. That's okay. If not, then you can say this. Also, this you know, right? So this increasing mantra 7 times each, and also this mala blessing. There are 2 mala blessings, also 7 times, but we can do 1 time. So. Walk together. Om Rutse Ramane Parawadaya Hum Pi Om Re Pemana Di Shore Hum. So actually this in the retreat, they said you are 2 malas. So one look like this, right? Then you have like a kind of assistant mala. Then you say Oma, Oma. The last one you 100 times Oma, 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 Oma. If you finish the 100, then you put like a below the 2 mala. You understand? So this put you like this. Then mala blessing this.
So then after you do the 100 recitations, then you blow onto the mala and you kind of rub them together in the way that he just demonstrated, and that kind of consecrates it with blessing.
Mala, right?
It's the consecration. You're consecrating your own mala. You're blessing your own mala.
Okay. Okay, so that is
So this is, all of these initial recitations. So also, one thing, I'll just make a note because of what Lincoln brought up with the Sanskrit, vowels and consonants. So one thing I've done here is often you'll see in the different transliterations of these mantras, the mantra of dependent origination, the 100-syllable mantra, the increasing mantras, is people write them actually according to the Sanskrit pronunciation with the diacritics, which actually I don't do because I haven't studied Sanskrit and because all the Tibetans recite them with the Tibetan pronunciation. So that's how they all are, except for the Sanskrit alphabet because it's Sanskrit. So that follows. So I think, Lincoln, that's why you think that there's a syllable missing? There's a sak in between what?
In the Sanskrit at the top, it separates the syllables. That's my confusion.
No, your confusion is because there's an H at the end of it, and there's not an A after that. So anyway, this is following somebody else's Sanskrit pronunciation. So, yeah.
Right. Tanda discuss mambo chigi yorwa Sanskrit tela. Tanga ngaranda wina tela pe mukhebat zo kecha mambo teens. Teen da karsena yang Tibetan Sanskrit pronunciation di digi mindo lagu yorwa. Inadati samno yakotana atin digi yores. Digi ki jumsen kare labina tene ta pen marbala sobe ketene translator jara mambo tene chungbares tega na ye ke Indian ke mahaseda kona ta hundreds Tibetan and royals. Since then karsena Tibetan Buddhism di ko nyamyo mares khaya. Tenyamyo mari ti la khari yorsen zo karsena general Sanskrit chekdang yang karsena Dharma Sanskrit northern chola Sanskrit dilata kojik southern da northern da center da momodwa ina Dharma jungsa sanje jungsi chuti ta tanda di ko karsena pobe Sanskrit chadi yore stini samsanga so o bena pobe ki nyorta tanda Sanskrit dembare tene Sanskrit hembate noriyo maris labgyorate tene remendos tana kepa tsame tene mare labgyoris tigana ye puna la Sanskrit lokta pe tsama soyorwa lokta kanis lobo.
And so actually, when it comes to this discussion of Sanskrit pronunciation versus Tibetan pronunciation of these mantras, which were originally in Sanskrit, So there is a lot of discussion about that amongst Tibetan scholars and practitioners too. So sometimes it is said like, oh, actually the way that as we recite this as Tibetans is incorrect. There's the proper way to recite, with the Sanskrit pronunciation. But Drupon disagrees because for a number of reasons. Of course, it's possible that, traveling over regions like this, there would be some distortion of how it was originally recited. But since the time of like the Indian Mahasiddhas and then this kind of these mantras then being transmigrating to Tibet, you have thousands and thousands of Tibetan practitioners who have always recited these mantras in this way. So it carries that stream of realization and blessing. And also, he's not convinced that it is necessarily incorrect because even though with like today's versions of all of the many different actually versions of Sanskrit that we have in modern times, although that is maybe different, the type of Sanskrit that was being spoken hundreds of years ago when these mantras came to Tibet, there were different versions. And in fact, it was a northern version of Sanskrit that made it to, that a lot of these mantras are adapted from, which doesn't even exist anymore. So it's impossible to really know what the original way in Sanskrit, the way that these were spoken in Sanskrit at that time. So the proper way, he believes, is for, especially, since it's now coming from the Tibetan tradition, is to use the Tibetan pronunciations for these mantras.
Indian Mahasiddha Pentada Yata Tonta Polum Royores.
And during the time when these mantras were written into the Tibetan language and there was this transmission to Tibet, there were hundreds, if not thousands, of Indian Mahasiddhas and Panditas who were there at the time in Tibet, who were really involved in this transmission, of it actually, who were those who wrote these in Tibetan and were involved in transmitting it to the Tibetan people. So he thinks that the transmission is accurate.
Right, and also, hundreds, thousands Tibetans scholars went to India and Royals.
And hundreds of thousands of Tibetans also then went to India to scholars.
And then also the complete translated, this we call Buddha's teaching, 108 volumes. And then this the Indian Mahasiddha's commentary, 200 or 20 volumes. This translated, from Sanskrit to the Tibet. So there, and also this the kind of Sanskrit grammar, Sanskrit pronunciation. So that's, I think, the Tibetans, the pronunciation is, I think, right. Because, and also since then, unbroken, So like India is just completely, they destroy the Dharma and their culture and like changing a lot completely, probably 1,000 years, I think they changed it. So anyway, okay, so now the actual practice, the maybe once, maybe English, go through page 15.
In English?
Slowly.
Dini yang de yikchung lo ya yurebe. In the space in front, instantaneously arises a great wish-fulfilling tree. On its central branch and the branches extending to each of the 4 directions are 4 tiered lion thrones with lotus, sun, and moon seats. The fifth in the center is higher, and those in the four directions are slightly lower. Atop the meditation seat in the center is my root lama, Vajradhara, surrounded by the lamas of the lineage. On the throne to the front is glorious Chakra Sambhara, surrounded by an assembly of Yidam deities. To the right is the mighty able one, the Shakya king, surrounded by the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate kalpa. Behind is the authentic Dharma as volumes of scripture. To the left is the Bodhisattva of skillful means, Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of wisdom, Manjushri, the mighty and powerful Lord of the hidden, Chidigarbha, and all the other 8 close Bodhisattvas, along with the gathering of the Bodhisattva Sangha. Surrounding down below is Mahakala and all the Dharmapalas and protectors, clearly appearing like piling clouds.
다디 visualization is.
So this is a visualization.
So the refuge tree.
What's that? Can we have can you show, if you scroll all the way to the front of the text, there's the picture of the refuge tree. So this is what we're visualizing in the space in front of us. This is what has just been explained with the visualization. It's the refuge tree, the field of refuge. And so what we can sort of, in our mind's eye, focus on is, first of all, really visualize a very beautiful and pleasant place. And in this really beautiful and pleasant place, there is like these really magnificent gardens with a lake, a vast lake at the center. Fulfilling tree. And then growing out of the center of this lake is this giant wish-fulfilling tree or wish-granting tree. And what is meant by that is a wish-fulfilling tree is a tree that bears any fruit that is needed and desired, everything that one could wish for. And so there's the main body of the tree itself that's like coming up out of the lake as the central pillar or column, if you will. And then there are 4 branches extending to each direction or extending off of this main central branch. And so it's hard to tell with this flat picture, the image, but what this is representing, so we can think of it more 3-dimensionally, so that like the central column of the tree is the tree of all the lamas, the spiritual teachers, the root lama, and all of the masters of the lineage lamas. And so of the lineage lamas, we have 3 lineages within the lineage, or there are 3 sections of lineage masters. So the first of these is the lineage, the blessing lineage of the practice lineage. And this is right here, so you can see from Vajradhara, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa. So those are at the center. And then Naropa's master. So if you're following. So these contain all of the spiritual teachers, the lamas of each of the main masters of the lineage, up in this very top, like at the very tippy top of the lineage tree, all the way down. And so these are all of the lamas of the blessing lineage, the practice blessing lineage. And then we have the two lineages of vast conduct and profound view. And so the lineage of profound view is here with Nagarjuna. And then the lineage of vast conduct, beginning with Atisha on the left, with Atisha at the center. Rudabe. Or Maitreya, it looks like Maitreya. But, And so these three lineages then make contact with Gampopa. If you can see, Gampopa is there. It's the last one on the top of that practice lineage. On the bottom, or right above. Can you point to that? Yeah, there. And so then below, here we have, then is Mahamudra, who was the disciple of Gampopa. And then the disciple, the principal disciple of Mahamudra was Lord Jigten Sumgun. Can you go, Tenzin, can you scroll up a little? Oh, Lisa, can you scroll a little bit so that the image goes up?
Okay, fine, that's good.
And so then you have all these surrounding lamas below Mahamudra Jigten Sumgun, and those are all of the throne holders, all of the lineage masters who have come since the time of Lord Jigten Sumgun. And so, for instance, from that time until now, with Drikung Kyalgun, Chetsang Rinpoche, and Chungsang Rinpoche, we have. That's the 37. And that is he is represented by Vajradhara, who is this blue deity at the center here.
That we have to understand the true trunk. That is centered.
So that's the central column, like the trunk of the tree. And so then we have the Yidam deities
maybe you read
who are in front. So it says, so when we read down, right, first the lineage masters, and then on the throne in the front is glorious.
First one, I read.
Oh, okay, so we read from the first. In this space in front, so this is what he's been demonstrating. In this space in front, instantaneously arises a great wish-fulfilling tree. On its central branch, and the branches extending to each of the four directions, are four-tiered lion thrones with lotus, sun, and moon seats. The fifth in the center is higher, and those in the four directions are slightly lower. Atop the meditation seat in the center is my root lama Vajradhara, surrounded by all the lamas of the lineage. So that's what he just showed us.
So now the second one.
So then on the throne to the front is glorious Chakrasamvara, surrounded by an assembly of Yidam deities.
So that telekarsan in French, three branch on
So there's a branch coming out of the trunk into, like, to the front, right, of the, like, so there's the trunk, and then there's a branch coming out to the front, if we think about it three-dimensionally. And the main deity on that front branch is Chakrasamvara, surrounded by all of the other deities, meditational deities, the Yidam deities. So then the next, so we say to the right is the mighty able one, the Shakya king, surrounded by the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate kalpa. So, So on that branch that's then coming off to the right, at the center is our Buddha, the Buddha of our time, which is Buddha Shakyamuni, surrounded by all the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon. And so then there's a branch coming off to the back. And so that is the mother Prajna Paramita, which is the Dharma, and the way that she appears here is in the form of scripture, so volumes of scripture. So all of those little boxes that you see in the back there are volumes of scripture, just like we have these wrapped texts here that you see that are bound wrapped texts like that. That's what those are. They represent the Dharma.
Left side branch. That left side branch most closer.
So then to the left is the Bodhisattva Sangha, the Noble Sangha. So all of the, mainly in the center, you have the 8 close sons, the main Bodhisattvas who are the close disciples of Buddha Shakyamuni. And then surrounding are all the Bodhisattvas.
Oh, that is this one.
And then around, oh, okay, so we can read then? No, we didn't. So to the left is the Bodhisattva of skillful means, Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of wisdom, Manjushri, the mighty and powerful Lord of the Hidden, who is Vajrapani, Shirigarbha, and all the other 8 close Bodhisattvas, along with a gathering of the Bodhisattva Sangha. And then surrounding down below is Mahakala with all the Dharmapalas and protectors clearly appearing like gathered or piling clouds.
Dharma protectors, these all the Dharma protectors. Tibetan name is Telaboro. Chuchong Suma say Thinley.
So in Tibetan, we have two words that mean Dharma protector, Dharmapala. So one is Chuchong and the other is Sungma. So we can say, for instance, one is protectors and the other is guardians. So Chuchong you would say is guardian, Sungma is protector.
That Telakariasana, Chuchong Sayatela, Buddha Dharma Pena, Achindo, Achiko, Sanjit and Basumi, Sanjit and the follower, Yamlenching and Sunjo Chivi, Suyatela, Chujong us. Suma say that what I'm done, I use cigarettes, Sumadi, the logo did in the woman, Sunjo Chigrawa. In and being on a color, you hate on them, logo did it so muddy. And a Mahabala, Achino, higher Charlie or this.
Yeah. So the Dharma guardians, or Chuchong, are deities that are specifically protectors that are specifically entrusted with looking after the Dharma and maybe perhaps particular, like practitioners of a particular lineage or for instance, like Achi is a Chuchong, a Dharma guardian. And then you have protectors, and they're protectors that are both like worldly protectors and transcendent protectors. So some protectors are protectors that have what we refer to here, the wisdom eye, for instance, and then those who don't have the wisdom eye, who maybe aren't completely enlightened. So the ones who are completely awakened, who possess the wisdom eye, are beyond, they're transcendent deities, so they are, objects of refuge. So then you have, you can't see like these details because it's a flat image, but when we're thinking about it three-dimensionally, the wrathful protectors are facing outward because they are warding off outer obstacles and hindrances from, so that nothing can penetrate inside. And then dine sukha nangla. And the peaceful deities are facing inward. So by facing in, they're protecting from the inside, protecting specifically virtue and attainments and cities that are generated inwardly from, they're protecting them from the inside so that they are not lost, so they don't slip out.
다 든지 지네 다 디긴 누텔라스 오다 될다 된득사다 디게다 라후지 긴 누텔라 랑라다 단다 디랑로 오너리 나도다 한로 공도 랑라로 고미아트네 요마다 단다디 다 랑한테 탐해봐 지네트네 다 가서 떠바진 동구요레 제선이다 민두 그스야 떠바탄 동구레스 어다 데리면 단데라 데테도와 데 이랑면바 다들 쳐바지 부구요레스.
So what we do is we read through this recitation, and as we read through, we're visualizing this refuge tree, this field of refuge in the space in front of us as we recite it. And then once we've built that visualization, then we recite through the 7 branches. So we make offering by reciting the 7 branches. And it's all written out here again.
Maybe yesterday.
So why don't we read it together, he said, starting on page 16. To those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in all the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom, there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharma Dhatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas, with the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense. I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest claws, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Over whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the bodhisattvas, the pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. So then following that, then we have the praise, and the praise is praising each of the 5 branches, each of the 5 objects of refuge, essentially. Also, please wait to print out your copies, because I'm just noticing some formatting problems, so I'll send you an updated version.
I'll read this one too.
Okay, so then with the praise,
Page 19.
on page 19, enlightened forms in whom all exalted Buddhas are subsumed, Vajradhara in essence, root of the 3 jewels, to all the spiritual teachers I prostrate and offer praise. From within the unborn state, out of great compassion, atop a lotus and sun seat with Bhairava and Kalaratri, emanates the enlightened form of the great wrathful one from Mara's subduing hung. To the transcendent conqueror of supreme bliss, I prostrate and offer praise. So that is Chakrasambhara, the supreme conqueror, the transcendent conqueror of supreme bliss. With impartial loving knowledge, or with impartial loving compassion, from the pure palace of Dharmakaya, the illusory Rupakaya manifests. To the Mother Varahi, I prostrate and offer praise. The completely pure 4 elements, whose essence is that of the 4 wisdoms, 4 goddesses, Dakini, Lama, Kandaroha, and Rupini, whose enlightened forms emanate for the benefit of beings. To the 4 Dakinis I prostrate and offer praise. Through skillful means and compassion, you were born into the Shakya clan. Unconquerable by others, you subdued the hordes of Mara. Your resplendent form is like a golden mountain. To you, the King of Shakyas, I prostrate and offer praise. Beyond thoughts, words, or expression, transcendent perfection of wisdom, without origin and unceasing, the very essence of space, the domain of your own intrinsic awareness, to the mother of all Buddhas of the three times, I prostrate and offer praise. Manjushri Vajrapani Avalokiteshvara Chirigarbha Avarana Vishkavabin Kashagarbha Maitreya Samantabhadra. To the great eight close bodhisattvas I prostrate and offer praise. In the presence of the Buddha, they vowed to protect, like their own children, all practitioners engaging in spiritual practice. To the assemblies of Dharmapalas and protectors, I prostrate and offer praise. To all those worthy of praise, bowing down with as many bodies as there are atoms in the universe, at all times with supreme faith, I offer praise.
오다 티 동사도 또바타야 동사도 다랑 tellatene da rang ji la chi tene da yesu rang ge pa de chi yong to rang ten de ma de chi
So
tene da jablo la or senje ming so wa
So then when we have built this visualization, and then when we're accumulating prostrations and we're reciting the prayer of refuge. But as we do this, we visualize that we're standing in the center in front of the refuge tree, and to our right is our Father, and to our left is our Mother, and we are surrounded by all sentient beings who are taking refuge together. Or behind us are all sentient beings, or surrounding, behind.
da ti da tele kharsena da nga zo lu go ne chame cha che yores.
So then we are prostrating with our body.
tene tega na yita nga ka go ne da jamron dong go yores.
And with our speech, we're reciting the refuge prayer.
So that refuge prayer ma ji lo da.
So then this is the refuge prayer. Until we reach the heart of awakening, I and all sentient beings who have been my mothers, vast as limitless space, take refuge in the sublime, glorious spiritual teachers, the kind root Lama, together with all the lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the Yidams and all the deities of their mandalas. We take refuge in the Bhagavan Buddhas. We take refuge in the sublime Dharma. We take refuge in the noble Sangha. We take refuge in all the Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma guardians, and Dharma protectors who possess the eyes of wisdom.
Da ti da ti la nga ka go ne tene tanda tangi ti pa ma rang tene simjan dam ji ke de jamron dong go yore sam go res.
So as we recite this over and over, this is what we're reciting again and again, and we're imagining that we, together with our mother and father, and all sentient beings are reciting this prayer of refuge.
tiga na yi tene da nga so jamro so yin la tene gong go yore rang tene phamani senye bing chama ya gong go yore ti gom ne tene so yin ki du la tene da lunga yi som ki cha se go yore.
And so then we're reciting and we're prostrating with our body, and we are visualizing that we are doing this. We're both reciting and making prostrations. We, our mother, our father, all sentient beings.
Da ti indu da je tranga zo da ko te nupcho bi language ro wa te inch visualization la so ba da te ne zo da inch lo na ya degrees ti indu ina ya da nga zo jik jam ro lo ya te ko tibetan jikwa ri ti na ya da english translation manda do wa ti indu te ne da nga zo peche ji poyek de lo symptom na ya bo yo res.
So there's of course, in the West, as we practice to understand the meaning, we can recite it in English, and there are lots of different versions of translation. So if there's one that you're familiar with, that's fine. It is best, the meaning is the same in the Tibetan, and it kind of flows more easily, and so you might want to memorize it in Tibetan, being sure that you know what you're saying, what is being said. But if you can memorize it and do the recitations in Tibetan. You can also do the recitations in English either way. Either way, 말해. Oh, then that's It's better to do it in Tibetan.
Yeah. So because reason is the visualizations often, yes, this is okay to English, of course. But this the refuge prayer is the Tibet is better, I think. The reason is so many translations, not really exactly same. So
Oh, but it's all the same in Tibetan. Like there are not
the
many
Tibetan
versions
is not
in
changing,
Tibetan.
So
Yeah.
like I don't know. So this maybe take a long time, but in the Tibet, like that time is the scholars.
The scholars.
The kind of which decision, which word they're using. So this kind of perfect Tibetan, and then these are like they called Teyorwa, Kepa, Perda,
Kepa.
Tene Tegana Yikita, Tene Dwelling Chinerwa, Tene Nyamyon, or Kepa Tichin, Segi Tampabuorwa, Sekota, Tene, that the Tampam, the Jarwoki, Lehono, that kind of decision cheat, Jarwokita, Seg the Yin, love the Pobe get Tata Jotobuorwa, take their powers. Not that I'm not so much in Yomarwa, Murder Kederi Jurua.
So there was this process, when all of when the Buddha Dharma was being translated into Tibetan, there was a very intensive process of standardization that occurred where all of these very skilled scholars and practitioners, panditas, came together and discussed, what were the appropriate terms in Tibetan for these Sanskrit words. And they came to agreement about it, and then they went to the king, and then that became, like the chosen verbiage, or the translations, the standard translations for these particular terms. So we don't have that in the West. Every translator sort of chooses the word that they think, is the best translation for this particular word in Tibetan. And so therefore we have so many different words and translations in English, where it's much more concise and consistent in Tibetan.
So the Tibet that time is studied on a conference, though things all the Zoom conference, so they got the 6 years now.
And it wasn't like a conference. Like a conference of a few days. It was like a process of 5 or 6 years. And then they made decisions, about what the standardized terms were.
meditator meaning gomne sanji o ko gomne bene rikpa tangba jibo mayimba
And based on experience, not just the scholars. It wasn't just a decision that the scholars made, but the meditators were involved too. Those who had, profound experience and practice and many years of meditation worked on the standardization of terms together with the scholars, and they decided together. So then there's the prostration. So you all probably know how to prostrate, right?
Okay, we do prostration now. So
Maybe, is there a way to use the camera? Oh, okay. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, everybody was in frustration.
Mhm. Wait, first, yeah, Dampotana. So first people can look. Mhm.
So that they go grow, I think also Japan, Tela, Natsada, Lunga, Yifong, Kachat, Hegilore,
Mhm.
Tigana Yita, Japan also the Tereta, Luke and Hane, Nga, Tan, Tene, Tatang Lu, Yada Lu,
Mhm.
Market,
Yeah, maybe the Kalotna. Yeah.
and then the form she is.
So when we make the prostration, so they're the gestures of how you put your folded hands to the different parts of your body. Yeah, maybe we wait for that. Oh, it looks like they can see him now.
Looks like
Okay, it's
everyone
okay,
can
you can
see
keep
you.
going, because they can see you. So first you take your, no, turn around. The camera, turn around. But kongso tonga marawa. Okay, so he's not going to prostrate not facing the Buddha. So, so the first you put your folded hands to your forehead, and this is purification of the body, and then to the throat level, which is purification of speech, and then to the heart level, which is purification of mind. And then you go down to the ground, and you slide all the way down. And you come back up.
Okay, we together 3 times.
So 3 times, okay. Nga kejo chego karawa. Marabe.
Okay. 다 들어서 개면. So this is actually good. So no. What is the image? It's not here. Where is maybe this one? This is wrong one. This one? Yeah. No video? So they can see my picture.
This one? You want this one?
No, the other one. Watch this computer.
This one. View. This one?
Yeah, that's okay. But that's okay. Or other one can see. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Camera viewing from the laptop, bottom left.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
That one. Should be okay now. That one.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So this, yeah. So I don't know. So this is not traditional. But it is pretty good in the carpet. You can use. And maybe you cannot using in the wood floor. So wood floor is another one like this.
Yeah, there are, so these are great. They are furniture sliders. You can get them off Amazon. There's also, these are for carpet. So if you're using a carpet, they slide really well. But on the wood floor, they have another version, or on a surface that doesn't have carpet, that is for sliding furniture on non-carpeted surfaces. They don't slide quite as well as these, but you can also use those.
Mm-hmm.
Like if
Yeah,
these
wood floor
slide
they
really
use.
well on the carpet.
This wood floor, yeah, you marwa.
But you don't use these on a wood floor or non-carpeted surface. These are only for like a carpeted or something that has fabric you can slide on. A
Oda
carpeted
tindu
surface.
tene da tere da tangi konshu na yire tene zo karsena nga zo cha cheya tela da zo nga zo tezongore sanji jumden de kitene ji luinde la ya ya go sonjob che gore so da ka changa zo tenjor jimilu la ro tendu tene cha chewa tela tene da luju mongo yore karsena ji na cha 상마 타기요래 다 단다 디가나 이 차세도 초제디도 고 one position 로 제리 디나야 고 forward body movement 로 차기요래 텐데다 단다 ngazu lule yang pengyo래 스티네 이나야 ngazu 다 루직보 팽야치도 양 차세고라나 고 팽용고 말와 이나 차세야 조데 갈세나 다 차세시 유 잠네 본조 손들이 차세야 된 세비를 되네 ngazu 루키고네 사히야 베키테네 dekpa sojuba majiba lambala soba ta tene nga ko ne sa hya be zun chama tso la soba ta tene yiji ko ne sa hya be te na sen no sem lokta la soba ta ti ki tene dekpa chang to bu yores oda chang so sam gu ko tin de yang tene rang ji bu ma yin ba rang ge pa ma sem jian tam ji ge tong de chi ge yo sam na tene nga zo lo te be qian bu cha ge yores.
So, prostration is really wonderful. It's also good for the body. And so, the Buddha has taught that it's really important to look after, care for, and nurture the body, to take care of the body. It's very important. This body is, our precious human life. And so when we exercise and move the body, then this helps prevent, us from getting sick. It keeps us in good shape. And so it's really wonderful to have this full body movement as part of our practice, as part of our spiritual practice. There's benefits, both on on all levels. When we, especially in our mind, when we're holding the field of refuge and we're making prostration to, with a mind of faith, to the objects of refuge, and we are doing so, with our body, speech, and mind, having our body make the prostrations, reciting the refuge prayer with our speech, and having our mind directed with faith towards the objects of refuge, then this purifies the obscurations of body, speech, and mind, particularly the negativities accumulated through the door of the body, such as, taking the life of living beings, stealing, sexual misconduct. It purifies the negativities of speech, such as lying, engaging in divisive speech, engaging in harsh speech and idle chatter. It purifies the negativities of the mind, in particular, like covetous states of mind, mind states of ill will and wrong view. And so it's really a profound practice of purification. So when we do prostrations, we really are purifying vast negativities and defilements of body, speech, and mind. And so when we do prostrations, it is important to have a vast state of mind.
that depends of course.
But, of course, if you have physical limitations, in particular, if you're older and it is difficult to do prostrations, you have to be careful. You have to be careful also not to hurt your body.
Even though young, that chance on Kandiji or the Lavina, Nima Tambo, that some cases, some the Nima Tambo Nipa Chamambo Tsena, the Giomares, Tambo could build up Chiguyores.
And even if you're young, you also have to be wise in your approach to prostration. So that means, in particular, if you're doing retreat, you don't just all of a sudden try to do thousands of prostrations right off the bat. You build up your capacity over time and then get to the point where you can do many.
제가 나기다 대요르다 디 참상가서 다 참고서 참되고나 하고마다 오늘 참되냐도 오이나 나 드네 다 biggest obstacle 때 가차기 요르라비나 다 니마 당보다 니발레데 참모 체그레스 드네 체용베가라 드네 수보 항상 나그레스 데 나두 드네 공소 참피하그와 와다가 체톱사 마레스 참피하그와 다딘데요 마레스.
So sometimes there's an obstacle that can happen. People get really enthusiastic and they maybe if they start retreat and they are I'm going to do so many prostrations. And then they do a ton of prostrations the first, or 1 or 2 days. And they are really in pain as a result of pushing it. And then they can't really do prostrations, the next days, or they become disillusioned and are like, this is too difficult.
No,
So
they
that's
sometimes
an obstacle, and they stop.
So that is actually these prostrations. I think maybe same, as yoga, but the prostrations very difficult. Morning, even though just very standing or bare, lay or move, very hard. But if you stop, then your pain is maybe weeks, still no go away. But if the prostration, maybe you do 10 prostrations, pain is gone. So have to keep going, don't stop. So interesting. Also, I did the prostration through the mountain Kailash, So this
Around
is
Mount Kailash. So he did prostration circumambulating Mount Kailash.
So this is not like our carpet, not like that. And the rocks, and that very difficult too is straight drawn post stations.
Doing it on a steep incline downwards is hard.
Right. So this that we call the Dharma path. So Dharma path is very steep, so we pass very highest, I think, point. So like every single, even the Tibetan people, the headache.
Because
You
it's so high.
Like we call it mountain sickness, but the kind of now I know the
Altitude
attitude, sickness. And then have to down, straight down, so hard. But I'm saying this, so have to build up. And then if you some pain, but don't stop. If you stop, and then it's not go easily. But I saying the 10, 20 post stations, then goes away, no problem. So, but I don't know these days harder. But I did the post station like 100,000 3 times, I think. So I did post station 2,000 post stations a day. So later on, kind of interesting. Really, this body is kind of used to feels kind of very never tired. The body is very light. So big difference, So now. So then, the end of the session, so I think back to again this refuge tree. So the refuge tree, so all these kind of like dissolution dissolves into the center Vajradhara. Right? Mm-hmm. So then center Vajradhara then dissolves into you, right? So they meditate. So you can read this.
So we just have this last line here. So you see there's the instructions in the middle about doing the prostrations, and then at the end of the session we dissolve the visualization. So it says, the objects of refuge dissolve into the main figure, who is Vajradhara, who then melts into light and dissolves into me.
Then so then when that depends, so maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes you meditate. And after that, so then another, if you retreat, then you have to increase the mantra there, right? You have. No?
Yeah, so then we have the Sanskrit alphabet, the mantra of dependent origination, the 100-syllable mantra, and then the increasing mantras at the end, the concluding mantras.
That depends dedication. Tangaso jil so teptino dedication so yin serwa.
Dedication Zoyin.
Oh, you already?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So then dedication.
And then we have dedication prayers at the end.
So that's then close.
So that's the whole sadhana.
Tindi da trenga to tu zo song tindi tine. Ta mixe ke twa ro yo na jixkuna degrees specific nga so ta di jamdu chila.
Tata?
Yeah.
Tata?
Yeah.
Okay, so this concludes, this session on how to practice refuge. And if you have just a few brief questions that are specific to this practice, he'll allow for a little bit of time to address those.
So then more detailed thing, also detail.
And then we'll go into a lot more detail concerning the refuge practice in the following weeks. I think Paula has one.
Okay.
So this is definitely different in a couple of ways from the red book and the yellow book that we've been practicing Nindra with before. Exactly at what point, we're not doing the short, 10 minute, 20 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 20 minute, 30 minute, 45 minute, 60 minute, 90 minute, 100 minute, 200 minute, 300 minute, 400 minute, 500 minute, 600 minute, 700 minute, 800 minute, 900 minute, 1000 minute, 2000 minute, 3000 minute, 4000 minute, 5000 minute, 6000 minute, 7000 minute, 8000 minute, 9000 minute, 10000 minute, 20000 minute, 30000 minute, 40000 minute, 50000 minute, 60000 minute, 70000 minute, 80000 minute, 90000 minute, 10000 minute, 20000 minute, 30000 minute, 40000 minute, 50000 minute, 60000 minute, 70000 minute, 80000 minute, 90000 minute, 10000 minute, 20000 minute, 30000 minute, 40000 minute, 60000 minute, 70000 minute refuge that we say in the book. So exactly where does it start? Does it start from the praise on page?
You mean what are you repeating again and again?
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, yes, they repeat again, yeah.
There's a lot more words.
Yeah, but I noticed that he was actually repeating the whole thing when we were just doing it now, so, he was repeating it.
Yina dadi chinan degrees tane nga tsu da ma jona mi ta ta nyam be sim tam ji te chinan degrees ina nga tsu de chigi yore. In that short stand I take refuge kan ri lama ti gan do.
So when they did it, the 3-year retreat, they actually did the whole recitation beginning with, no, Gangla Mare.
So is it from the word praise on 21?
Dag Dang Magyar, so until we reach the heart of enlightenment, so that whole section. But what most of us are familiar with is starting with Drinchen Sawe Lama, right? So
Right.
that is in the middle of, yeah, it's in the middle, yeah, so it would be starting with, in English, it would be, we take refuge in the sublime, glorious spiritual teachers. That would be where it starts. And maybe actually I'll change it so there's a break, so that's clearer,
Yeah,
so that you can have
outline.
that, especially if that's what you're used to. And then in the Tibetan, so that it's clearer, because it's in the middle of this, like it's the second to bottom line on page 22. It starts with Drinchen, which is in the middle of that second to bottom line.
Maybe if you could put little asterisks from the beginning to the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, we can
Thank you.
change that.
There's a question online about how many prostrations do you do when you do this practice?
That the katanga to date imba telling us that experience chunya chitola tene ta nga so bena nyimani nga so nyam samde are tene nyima nga ti chang so samde are wa ina that ko cha tananga so tangka message yo maris kasi se to chin degrees ta namjun do ina yang 100,000 se ya ji oro te yo maris tene tiga na iko nyimari kasi se to mo to tangka neriji yo maris.
So, so you know what the way that we are following this program, this 3-year program, it's the same. So that we did for the contemplations on the 4 thoughts that turn the mind. You're doing a total of 7 days of retreat. That's your accumulation, and so what that means is we have 2 days of retreat together, and then 5 days of retreat on your own, and you do as many prostrations as you can in that format of like a 4-session retreat and we're not accumulating. So traditionally, it's 100,000 prostrations, but in this program, we're doing it differently. So it is essentially 7 days of retreat without accumulation, without counting, but doing as many as you can. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we focus 7 days, then 100,000.
Later, you're getting a preview of everything, and then, yeah. Getting experience, and then you can go back.
Lisa has a question online.
Okay.
Hello, Drupon in Virginia. For those that we talked about that can't
Lisa?
do can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. They can't hear.
Oh, it looks like you guys can hear, but we can't hear.
I'm wondering, maybe I should type it in. I'll type it in. But I'm wondering if at some point Drupon can
Is it written down, maybe? Does she wanna write it
demonstrate
down?
half prostrations and seated prostrations for those who can't do a
Oh,
full
you just have to
prostration.
unmute. Yeah, maybe. She is, something says. At the top, there's something, I can't see what it says, but it looks like if you press OK, maybe it's okay. Oh, okay. So that. Okay.
She's gonna type it.
Is there a setting that says mute for all?
Can Drupon demonstrate half and half seated prostrations? If not now, then in the future?
Dini chichina de pena de zubo chatsam, then that de chaksa chini chema tuna, dini de tunga de pena.
Teaching degrees.
Yeah.
10 degrees.
Yeah, sure. He'll demonstrate later. On another day.
Okay. Yeah, I can show you now. Then we.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
That's
there are more questions or no?
Dini yang de dene chaksa chetang yang pena garsi de zupo kayang che matuna dini de sacha che rangla dene yang chaksa che jugi. So I asked him also about the seated prostration that you mentioned, and he said, yeah, that's not a thing.
That's not prostration. Sit this.
So this is the half prostration. It's what we do when we walk into the temple, usually. So you're just going down onto your knees instead of prostrating your whole body. What's that? Yeah, and touching your forehead, like as you would.
Okay. That's enough, right? Huh?
So he said actually he feels good having moved his body a little bit, doing some prostrations, it feels good.
I think we went to Lima, right? We did the retreat, Nyungni retreat, do you remember? What is his name? So he said, so one guy, he said, I really like to prostration, but I just lay on the floor. Then really need to, to for people pick up me, otherwise I cannot standing. So then I said, sure, yeah, that's no problem. We just group, you can if need to pick up 4 or 5 people, just no problem. So said he's okay. He did. So he can do later. First, yeah, of course, down and really hard. And standing, no need people, help, no need help him. And then later on, slowly he can do the prostration. He's really happy. So first he thought, no, I never prostration. He said, no way, If you lay the floor, that's it. Just I need help, But he did prostration. So interesting, the body. So particularly, I think really beneficial in the West, So West encounters different than, or not West, these days, So people have chair, and then not much, it just bend, So like farmers.
We don't bend that much. We don't bend our bodies.
Farmers and those are like always working, bend, like kneeling. These construction people probably here kneeling down a lot, but normal people just only just walk.
From one seated position to the next, yeah.
So I think really, good. Doesn't matter, how much you can. Depends, but I think even though we did what is the 7 or prostration, something, feels different, So. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's it. So then, so next week or
following, so there are more details. And also, actually, lineage. So maybe people want to know, or maybe don't want, I don't know. But the lineage, or the lineage names, the Kempo Sutton, right? He did the, what did they?
I think he did that, but I've never seen it myself.
Yeah, who did that? Who wrote that? Oh, okay. Right.
Well, you're talking about the one with all the pictures and
Oh,
the short story of all them.
stone holders, yeah.
Yeah, lineage.
Yeah.
So that's a good too, so this, we can do that too in the book, but also if you want to look, so they're all the names, lineage holders.
The names are also on the website for Holiness's website.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then maybe this we can do maybe the dedication.
Dedication? So in the Ngundro text, on the last page, we just have some short dedication prayers here. So we can read through them on page 26. Following the wisdom of Manjushri, the fearless one, and similarly Samanta Bhadra. Wait, I'll wait till she gets there. Sorry. Okay. Following the wisdom of Manjushri, the fearless one, and similarly Samanta Bhadra, following them all and practicing in the same way, I too dedicate all merits accordingly, by the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Trikungpa Ratnashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
And also I want to say, so refuge tree, so I will print, so nice,
Oh, he wants to make,
and then send to you individual, right?
yeah, so you can each have like a laminated copy of the refuge tree. We're going to print some of
Then give
those.
to, send to you.
And we can send them, but the Dakangne? Or?
Yeah, down to document.
Yeah, so we'll send them in the mail.
Okay, so also I have different, version.